What is going on, everybody? It is Jon Does. This is episode 78. 78. I've done 78 of these episodes. Let's get into it. Hello. How are you? What's up? You know, it's Wednesday. And I got a great show for you guys today. We're going to talk about what has been going on with DC and Warner Brothers for the last 10 years. We're not going to go over all of it, but we're going to go over some of the recent drama stuff that has been going on in regards to DC retooling their direction with new management. But before we get into all of that, welcome. What is the best place? I always hear this from people. What is the best place to support this channel? Well, aside from subscribing. Oh, what's up, Ryan? You here for the drama? Fantastic. Let's do this. Let's get some drama going. We'll jump into that a little bit later. But I wanted to start off the show by letting people know how they can support the channel. Subscribing, liking, and subscribing, doing all that fun stuff is really helpful, particularly for the YouTube algorithmic gods. Let me say that again. For the YouTube algorithmic gods. I can't say some words. Anyways, well, if you really want to support this channel, check out wilddinosaur.com. There is a merch store there. I've got all kinds of stuff. I got like these tote bags. There's actually stuff in this because there's gifts for one of my nephews in here. But this is one of my tote bags. The prints are fantastic. I've had this for months and months, and it still looks great. The handles are super solid. You get a choice of color on your straps there on the handles. There's like red, black, and yellow, I believe. But there's all kinds of other stuff. And you know, I don't have these on my shop, but I have these sticker packs here. There's 5 vinyl stickers in there. And what I've been telling people is if you purchase something from wilddinosaur.com, and let's say you get a t-shirt or you get a tote bag or something, take a picture of yourself wearing or using your Wild Dinosaur merch, post it up on social media, tag me in it. Don't forget to tag me in it, otherwise I'm not going to know. And I'll send you some sticker packs for free. Just for, supporting my store. Derpy, in other news, confirmed Henry Cavill not returning. I don't know that that's true. I think hold on, let me look that up. I've been doing DC research all day. As far as I can tell, he just doesn't have a contract, which actually doesn't really mean anything. Let's see, news. Oh, 17 minutes ago. God damn. See, I knew I was expecting some things to happen. Okay. Shit. Do we just get into this? Do we just get into this right away? Is my whole episode just going to be about the DC stuff? Yeah, probably. All right, let's just get into it. I'm gonna need to switch my pages real quick. Hold on. Sorry, you guys are gonna lose. Oh, there we go. It didn't. Oh, that's fantastic. Usually when I switch, I have what am I trying to say here? Whatever, you guys probably don't care about OBS and how things work on my end, but usually when I switch from one of with the background and how things are set up here, I have 2 of them. One of them goes after my commercial break, and usually I lose the chats, but it didn't happen this time. So huzzah! All right. Well, there's breaking news. This still, from what I'm seeing, let's see who wrote this. This is from Anthony D'Alessandro at Deadline, and this broke 17 minutes ago. Okay. Well, I don't know if I want to start with this or not. Thanks, Derpy, by the way, for pointing this out. So, the rumor on the street, this Deadline article from 17 minutes ago. Effective tonight, DC bosses Peter Safran and James Gunn have officially made known their plans for their first movie under their regime. It's Superman. I think that was kind of a foregone conclusion. They've been talking about it, and people have been talking about Superman for a really long time. So it's Superman, a script that the latter is currently writing about the Man of Steel's early days. It's not an origin story. However, a new actor will be sought to play Superman. As for Henry Cavill, while the DC bosses would like to work with him, he's been informed he's not part of the next iteration of Superman, given its new direction. Meanwhile, we hear, with sources familiar to the scene, that Gunn and Safran are in talks with Ben Affleck to stay in the DC universe, but as a director. Affleck is set to reprise his Batman in The Flash, which opens June 16th. Gunn and Safran plan to unveil their full DC plan in January, but are taking meetings with various talent connected to the universe to share their vision as they sort out a more cohesive plan for the comic book brand, stretching across all mediums. By the way, this fucking sucks, because I did a lot of work trying to get my show together, and this kind of blew it up. In a tweet tonight, Gunn writes, "Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We will be able to share some exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year." He continues, "Among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill." Okay, this is official from the head of DC. But we just had a great meeting with Henry, and we're big fans, and we talked about a number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future, added Gunn. So these are a series of tweets that he posted out. Well, that sucks, because I had a whole series of other tweets that I was going to show. I mean, it's so relevant, but now we have some more definitive information. Studio insiders emphasized tonight that Cavill did not go rogue in posting about his return to Man of Steel. It was a plan hatched by the previous regime before Safran and Gunn took their exec seats at DC. There is a chance that Cavill could still be involved in the DC universe. The town was shook up last week as news leaked that the new Safran and Gunn DC administration had thumbed down Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3. However, that decision was made in conjunction with other Warner execs who were providing notes to Jenkins. The Wonder Woman filmmaker tweeted yesterday that she's never walked away from the project. Well, I guess we can get into some of this now. I was open to considering anything asked of me. It was my understanding there was nothing I could do to move anything forward at this time. DC is obviously buried in changes they are having to make, so I understand these decisions are difficult right now, wrote Jenkins. More to come later. Well, Derpy, I blame you for this. You've ruined my show. Yeah, I'm just kidding. You didn't ruin anything. So I had a rough timeline here that I was gonna get into. Wow, this is big news. This is big news in regards to what's been going on as a whole. Now, I should preface this by saying I loved Man of Steel. It's my favorite Superman movie. I'm not a big Superman fan, and so the things that they did in Man of Steel made me want to see more of this Superman. However, I am not a big fan of the overall direction of the Snyderverse. I think there's like 2 movies out of like 6 or 7 or something like that that I think are okay. But so Ryan wants to hear my timeline. It's not a detailed timeline, and it kind of starts in the middle of the story because this has been going on for years now with Warner Brothers. They've gone through multiple leadership. They've gone through all kinds of drama and cancellations and all kinds of things going on. And we're at a new phase now of what might happen with DC. So, let's see. I was originally starting with James Gunn and Peter Safran getting taking on their new roles, but I think what I really want to start with is, well, 2 things were kind of happening kind of at the same time, even though so Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash in the Snyderverse movies, it was just the Justice League, right? Oh man, there was a whole planned like the Flash alone has gone through like 10 directors. Robert Zemeckis was attached at one point, and it's been just kind of a mess on the individual movie circuit there with the DC stuff. But over the last like 2 years, Ezra Miller has been arrested for various things. One of the things that I did not do for this, because I don't want to get into all of their personal issues, but their personal issues have affected their lives and the overall direction. Not all. It definitely affects his career and what they do with the Flash. So Ezra Miller prefers the they them pronouns. They assaulted somebody in like I think it was Iceland or something like that. That was like 2 years ago. Nobody said anything of it. For the longest time I was like, why is nobody talking about this? It just kind of got buried. And then there was some other things that were coming up about he was in Hawaii and he assaulted a couple there, like throwing stuff around. I think he broke into their hotel room or something like that. I don't remember all the details, but it's been messy. And then it's just gotten worse for him as well. Sorry. It's just gotten worse for Ezra. They have been accused of grooming a Native American child. The parents filed a restraining order against them. There's just been some stuff happening. So Ezra, as this main actor for this franchise, I would hate to be in James Gunn, Peter Safran's place to have to figure out what to do with all this stuff. So the Flash movie is like a $200 million movie, right? It's a lot of fucking money. It's a lot of money. And we have seen, I guess another caveat to this is also this past year, Discovery Media Inc. purchased Warner Brothers, and so yeah, they do sound like an asshole. So yeah, Warner or Discovery purchased Warner. Now they're Warner Discovery. There's all kinds of things going on because Warner Brothers apparently was hemorrhaging a ton of money. And David Zaslav, who is the head of Discovery, now the head of Warner Discovery, he has the task of slashing budgets and recuperating, some financial, some of Warner Brothers' financial viability as a company. And so we've heard of cancellations happening. There was some new ones today. Westworld and Raised by Wolves and a couple other shows are actually going to be leaving HBO Max to go to other streaming services because Warner sold them off for, cash. So there is some things happening. I don't know what the future of HBO Max as an app looks like in the next 2 years. Because it seems like that might be something that is maybe on the chopping block as well. Is that the app as a whole, or the Warner Brothers library, I think is going to get split up and rights sold off to more places. So I don't envy any of these people having to make these tough decisions. But we lost Batgirl, which was a $90 million movie that was going to be on HBO Max. They are shelving it, burning it, destroying all the hard drives. They did one showing for the people that worked on it and their friends and family, but they cannot air it. They cannot show in theaters. They can't air it anywhere. Otherwise, it will violate their tax write-off, and they have to end up paying that back. So they're going to end up getting a $20 million tax write-off off a $90 million movie. So there's things like that going on with Warner Brothers. The problem with the Flash movies, they've apparently done a handful of test screenings. And the word on the street from the test screenings of The Flash is that it is a really good movie. Apparently, it's a really good movie. It's weird. They're essentially doing the Flashpoint story arc, which, if you're familiar with that, there's multiversal aspects, and this is a potential good place to reboot stories and actors. So I think they have kind of inadvertently put themselves on a narrative level in a kind of a good place with the Flashpoint, because it's not, the movie comes out in, I think, June or July. I don't quite remember, but they still have time, a little bit of time, if they need to fix something or add like one little post-credit scene or, something small like that. You cannot reshoot a movie like this with new actors or anything. What you could do, though, is you could throw in a post-credit scene or something like that. Like the first Avengers movie, there's that post-credit scene where they're all eating shawarma. That was shot like the day after the world premiere of the movie, and then they shot it and edited it and color corrected it and did whatever they needed to. There's not like CG; it's just an inside shot. They got that in there between the world premiere and opening day, which was like a week, something like that. So you could theoretically figure something out to, let's say, they decided to recast Barry Allen's Flash. That might be it might be weird and thinking about things and like, well, introducing a new character or new blah 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 to a character in a post-credit scene might be a little off, and I don't disagree with that. Usually just start going like, well, whatever. But if you're doing science fiction comic booky stuff, let's say you have like a Doctor Strange 2 post-credit scene. Sorry, I don't even want to get into that. Something like, the day saved, the multiverse is great or whatever, but then one thing happens and all of a sudden he's like, ah, and the Speed Force like morphs him into something else. I'm throwing out ideas. I'm not saying my ideas are great, but there's a place for them to potentially recast or throw in something that kind of, changes maybe something in the movie that helps the direction that they want to go in with Warner Brothers going forward. The whole James Gunn, Peter Safran era that we're not in that era yet. They just started in November. We won't see anything that any of their plan of action. They won't get in. We won't see any of that until for like 2 years. It takes a while to make a movie, let alone put together a whole 10-year plan, which is what they were tasked with by David Zaslav. Is we need a 10-year plan for Warner Brothers. Flash Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah, they're essentially doing that. They're doing that's what this Flash movie has been rumored to be for a long time. There's actually, Ryan, I don't know if you've seen it, but there is actually a trailer for this movie that's out too. So you even see multiple versions of Barry Allen and stuff like that too. And look, I've been on this kick lately where I really appreciate it when filmmakers or studios don't belittle or treat their audiences like they're stupid. And I can buy a different actor in the roles, in the same role. Spider-Man Far From Home, No Way Home, the last Spider-Man movie, did a really good job of showing multiple versions of Spider People, and I don't know. The last trailer I watched was from The Monsters. I felt stupid watching it. Well, I'm not gonna say you're stupid for watching it, but that movie did look stupid. Like, it looked really bad. I had zero interest in watching it after I saw the trailer, and apparently most people didn't really appreciate it either. Sorry, I'm gonna throw up my graphic. I got my graphic. I wanted to throw that up because of because I can do graphics. Yep. Sorry, I gotta zoom in a little bit. There we go. So the Flash is a mess already. It's coming out. There's potential for small tweaks. Add a scene in a post-credit scene or something to maybe if they need to. I don't know what's going on in this movie. I haven't seen it. Obviously, it's not out. I haven't even really read any of people trying to spoil it, that were some random Redditor that was like, oh, I was at one of the screenings, and it's like this happens and this happens, and I don't really go down the Reddit road so much with stuff like that, but this Flash movie, I think, is one of the bigger problematic things that DC has to deal with currently, and mostly because it's like they're one of their next 2 movies coming out. I don't remember, when does Aquaman come out? Aquaman 2 is also coming out sometime. It comes out in December. So, and then the Flash, I think it's June. Yeah, June 16th. So we got the Flash, and then in December we got Aquaman 2. These 2 movies are problematic for a couple of reasons. As I've laid out for you, the Flash stuff really started with the director drama because they went through a bunch of directors, and they probably went through like a ton of scripts and story points. But yeah, this is their next big thing coming, and so they really do need to, get on what they're gonna be doing. Now, they have talked about a handful of months ago. I don't remember all three of the scenarios, but Warner Brothers basically put out, they had three options for dealing with Ezra Miller. There was basically just recast. Then there was Let's Hope He Gets Better, and I forget what the third one was. The Let's Hope He Gets Better one was they needed him to take some therapy and seek mental health, because they clearly do have some mental health issues going on, which, they've done some messed up things to other people, but I do hope they can get their shit together. I'm not. I never. What was it? The Squid and the Whale. I haven't seen a ton of Ezra Miller stuff, to be quite honest with you. I did see the first two. Actually, I think I've seen all of them now. Fantastic Beast movies, which I'm not a fan of those. And they play a role in those movies. I didn't like that movie because of Ezra, or those movies because of Ezra. I didn't like those movies because they just were not entertaining. Very, very entertaining. So yeah, the whole Flash thing, and we'll see what happens if I suspect, if we're hearing, the big news today of Henry Cavill not coming back as Superman for this stage of DC, I would suspect Ezra Miller is probably out as well. I'm going to say they're probably recasting everybody. Wonder Woman 3, well, we'll get to that in a little bit. But it sounds like they're basically wiping the slate clean and moving forward. Taking a beer break. Do it, Ryan. You get it. Let me know what kind of beer it is. Is it a IPA? I want the 40s cartoon version of Superman. Yeah, I think that vibe. Hold off on any Ezra Miller stories. I think the vibe for like the 40s cartoon version is what people want. They want, with Superman, you want a hopeful character. Lagunitas, delicious. I haven't had an alcoholic beverage in like 2 years, but I've been thinking about beer a little bit here and there. Yeah, something light, maybe like I don't know, Heineken. Brandon Routh. I liked the Brandon Routh version of Superman. That movie was boring. Like, Superman didn't do anything in that movie. But I like Brandon Routh as well. I think he's better as Todd, the bass player, though. The 40s era Superman, I think, is it's like the classic hopeful Superman story, and I think that's kind of where they want to go. It sounds like they've just from all the little bits and things that I've heard about. I know J.J. Abrams was working on a Superman movie. I don't know. I'm okay with J.J. Abrams taking a seat for a little bit. And really, I don't know. J.J. Abrams is a whole nother story. I do think he should go back to doing non-franchise things for a little bit, but that's another conversation, I guess. So yeah, we'll probably be moving on from Ezra Miller's The Flash. I'm sure we're just waiting to get closer to the release of the movie. I'm not sure how press is going to go for that movie because, I mean, people have questions for Ezra Miller, and they're not about the Flash. None of them are. I don't think this is as big of a deal or big of an issue as the Ezra Miller thing, but the next movie in line after that is Aquaman 2. And there's two little caveats with that. First of all, if you had eyes and ears and were around this last year, you know, if you're a sentient person and you understand social media and you partake in consuming of clip videos and stuff like that, you probably heard of a little court case that happened earlier this year. It was Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Now, Amber Heard is Mera in Aquaman. In the Aquaman movies, she popped up briefly in Justice League, and she's in the first Aquaman movie. Now, this is just where I'm at with Amber Heard. I'm not gonna sit here and you know, talk a lot of shit about her or Johnny Depp's personal life, because they both seem to have some issues that they might need to work through, and that's none of my business, to be quite honest. But I've only seen Amber Heard in like 3 things: Aquaman, Justice League, and Zombieland, which I didn't even realize she was in Zombieland. She's the girlfriend in the beginning that turns into a zombie and dies like instantly. It's the first scene of the movie, pretty much. And in 0 of those movies have I been impressed with acting talent skills. What you got over here, Derpy? Up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, Superman, faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. The amazing stranger from planet Krypton, the Man of Steel. Yeah, no, I used to watch on Nick at Night when I was a kid. I used to watch some of those old 40s or 50s? I guess it would have been 50s versions of Superman. The old black and white show. Zombieland was her best role. Yeah, probably. So I don't know. I haven't seen many Amber Heard movies where I even acknowledge her acting ability. You know, we all consume a lot of stuff these days, and there's good acting stands out, and I've never had that moment with Amber Heard. Not to talk shit, because I've not, you know, maybe she's a fantastic actress and we've just not seen it yet. She hasn't had the opportunity or whatever. But what I have seen, not liked, and then their public or their private life getting leaked out and coming out through these court cases, makes them both look pretty bad. And I don't know. Let's see. Derpy, just give me the tone of that era with the abilities and helpful imagery, but have the storyboards and plot similarly written to the 90s cartoon. Yeah. Are you talking about the one that was like well, there was... I don't remember when everything came out, but there was the... it was like the Batman animated counterpart. Is that what you're talking about? That 90s one? Because I guess it would be, because I don't think those Justice League ones came out. Yeah, Superman the animated series. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. It has like a brighter version of that Batman animated series. I didn't watch a ton of those. I did watch the Batman animated series though, and then I've watched a bunch of those Justice League ones. Yes, but the design and tone would be the 40s cartoon for the DC. I'm not opposed to that at all. I mean, I'm open for anything really with a DC at this point. I would just really want to see them establish themselves. I am really ready to move away from the Snyderverse stuff. I don't dislike Zack Snyder as a director. He's very much like a George Lucas to me, where he's really good at certain parts of directing and not great at some of the other parts of directing. Like dialogue. Both of them have difficulty with dialogue, I would say. Man, this is going to be another longer episode, I think, today, because I'm only getting here. So, yeah, Amber Heard, that's going to be an interesting thing. I don't think it's going to be as big of an issue as the Ezra Miller situation when it comes to, like, press, for example, for doing, imagine what the press is going to look like for Ezra Miller as he's doing press for the Flash movie. People aren't going to be asking about the Flash. They're going to be like, so are you going to jail? Did you kidnap and brainwash a 13-year-old Native American girl? Like, these are the kinds of questions that the press is going to be asking about, and it's really going to detract from the movie, the promoting the movie, which is what Warner Brothers wants. You want to bring as many eyeballs and as much money to the theater experience as possible. But I do think Amber Heard is problematic for DC, Warner Brothers currently, and that is going to be a bit of an issue for the Aquaman movie as well. Now, the plus side is Amber Heard is not the main character of Aquaman. That's Jason Momoa, which this is where I'm going to start getting into a little bit more of like some of the potential rumors and news. If they are completely recasting and wiping the slate clean with their DC characters, there's a rumor that's been going around, and I believe it. Partly because I know Jason Momoa is a fan of this character, and I think he's more suited for this character. But he currently plays Aquaman, which already the version of Aquaman we get with Jason Momoa is a little different than most of what we know Arthur Curry. You were derpy on this one? Yeah, I think it's a good tone to go with. I think the important part about what happens with Superman is the right people on this. Like, I think for a minute here, J.J. Abrams was writing and producing. I think when there was rumors of Michael B. Jordan being Superman, like getting a African American Superman, that was the J.J. Abrams scripts that were going around. But I don't think we're getting any of that. I do completely think it matters who writes and directs. Tone tone is in the story for sure. It's in the script, but it doesn't come out in a movie without the right people. So editor, colorists, things like that. Like the Superman movie, the colorist is as important as the editor, in the sense of like his suit needs to evoke a certain emotion. If you're talking about getting that 1940s cartoon vibe, you got to get the right tone and color with his suit. And coloring also really does a big thing for helping accentuate the tone of your film. So I think the director is going to be maybe as important as who plays Superman. So whenever we get the news on that, we'll talk about that for sure. Because as we read earlier in this breaking news from half hour, 45 minutes ago or whatever, Superman is high on the list. To move the DC franchise forward. So moving on from the Amber Heard thing. We talked about it a little bit. But one of the things that got canceled was the Batgirl movie that they already shot. It was completely shot. I think they were still working on maybe some post-production. But it was almost done. That gets canceled. And we heard about that back in August. All right, so this is where things get a little bit messy. Superman comes back into the conversation a little bit, but after 9 years of, 9 years after the initial announcement of this movie happening, and I think 12 years of it being, in the public mindset of this movie potentially being made, Black Adam is released. And we got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson over here as Black Adam. They announced Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson 9 years ago to play Black Adam. Originally he was I think looked at to play Shazam. Man, this is kind of a mess too, because it seems like The Rock has taken on a huge role in trying to push this franchise forward. And it also seems like he's not very into the Shazam movies that have been produced. The second one comes out, I think, this year too. Damn, did we get 3 DC movies this year? Yeah, we do. Shazam comes out in March. I didn't realize that. So yeah, actually, before we get the Flash, we get Shazam. So forgive me, I need to correct myself there. It's just Shazam, Flash, and then Aquaman. So we get 3 DC movies, which it's great because we get in the previous era of the Snyderverse, we'd get 1 movie every other year, something like that. So it's nice to get more content from DC in 1 year, even if it's still leftover Snyderverse stuff. So yeah. The Rock seems to have tried taking a little bit of an overall executive producer position, not just on Black Adam, but it seemed like there for a second he was vying for some sort of big pull in the overall DC universe conversation. Henry Cavill, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Black Adam, guess what? I haven't seen Black Adam. I probably won't until it comes out on HBO Max in 2 days. It comes out in 2 days. Yeah, and I probably won't even watch it when it comes out. I'll wait. That was a movie I just not very interested in. However, spoiler alert, there's a post-credit scene. Henry Cavill comes back in this post-credit scene as Superman, and a lot of people were really excited, myself included, because I do like Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he is a really good version of Superman. I think he was undercut in the writing through most of the stuff that he's done. Ryan says, I want The Rock for president of the United States of America, not the president of DC Comics Cinematic. Oh, man. I know you're joking. Ryan. That scares the shit out of me. I would rather have The Rock as the head of WWE than anything else. And not to say like, oh, I like WWE or anything. I haven't watched wrestling since I was like, that's not true. I watched a little bit of wrestling a couple years ago, trying to see if I still liked it, and I don't. I don't talk shit on it though, because I think it's a really fun form of entertainment. I just it's not for me anymore. But yeah, I haven't watched a lot of wrestling since I was in like junior high. Back in the Attitude Era. Back when things were great. Back when The Rock was actually The Rock, the wrestler, not just like a guy named The Rock. Quick little trivia for those Avatar: The Last Airbender fans. There is a character named the Boulder in season 2. I think he pops up a little later too. And he was supposed to be voiced by Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Something happened. I don't think it was a bad thing. I think it was like scheduling conflict or something. The character of the Boulder was then replaced by Mick Foley, one of my favorite wrestlers of the era. Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, you know. Yeah, anyways. Pat, I'd like to see The Rock live the smackdown on Elon's Rudy Boo Candy ass. I don't think we need The Rock to do that, because I think the Twitter comment section does that for him enough. Or also just showing up to Dave Chappelle concerts. I like that his response was like, well, to be clear, there was 90% cheers and 10% boos. And it's like, no, dude, it was like 5% cheers, 95% boos. You suck. Get out of here. Also, I do got to say, it was weird to hear Dave Chappelle be like, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I got to say this. It's weird to hear Dave Chappelle saying, like, you're booing? Don't you got better things to do with your time than boo? It's like, no, dude, they paid to come see you. There's 2 reactions you get when you're an entertainer. You get applause or you get boos. Like, that's what you expect when people come to see you. You should know this. You've been doing it for 45 million years. Yeah, that whole thing is fucking whack. Mick Foley was quite the personality. He still is. You know, he's a really awesome dude from what I hear. Yeah, and they were talking shit about, like, oh, the people booing are the poor people up in the balcony. Those tickets were like $200. Like, fuck you, you rich asshole. You're completely out of touch. Dave Chappelle fucking sucks, by the way. He used to be funny. He still has like 1% of like comedy in him, but now he's just an old dude bitching about shit. And I just don't give a fuck about his comedy. He's not that funny anymore. He just sounds like a dude that bitches about cancel culture all the time. And I'm like, this isn't funny. This is you just venting your personal bullshit. Like, I don't care. I don't know. Sorry, I get a little heated there. I haven't really fucking cared about Dave Chappelle in a long time. Yeah, Abba Zaba, you my only friend. What happened to that Dave Chappelle? Now it's like, trans people, I hate all of you. That's the kind of shit you get from Dave Chappelle these days. You're like, can't you just go back to smoking weed, talking about candy? All right, I'm gonna move on with some of this stuff. So yeah, the Rock has been throwing out all kinds of stuff. He even tweeted out, like, because the movie's not the Black Adam movie didn't make a ton of money. It might make some money back. I think he tweeted out something like, well, I talked to our financial people and we're making $52 million off this movie. Which $52 million? Shit, I wish I had $52 million. But when your movie cost $150 million or $200 million to make, plus marketing, which is close to $400 million, and you make $450 million, your movie is not super successful at that level of budget. It is a success by the metric of it made money, and more money than I'll probably ever see in my life. But by that metric, it's not a financially successful movie. So I also see like DC wanting to move on from all this stuff, because even Black Adam is lingering on from a bygone era of DC at this point. So just to move a little forward here, October 25th, it was announced that Peter Safran and James Gunn will be leading DC. So there's a lot of people talking about various stuff. So this is where I have my texts that we have from James Gunn. These came out the other day. Also, there's a story here about involved in James Gunn tweeting. He tweeted a response to, I think it was Den of Nerds, where they were speculating that he doesn't like Henry Cavill, and James Gunn actually responded like, "Oh well, it's a rumor you heard. I heard a rumor you moved out of your mom's basement." Maybe a little uncalled for the head of DC, but it's James Gunn, and also I don't really care. I think Den of Nerds kind of sucks too. And it's not totally true. I've seen some Den of Nerds stuff. I've watched some Den of Nerds content. It's not a channel I follow regularly or anything like that. And I should walk back that sentiment or statement that Den of Nerds sucks. I don't necessarily mean that. That was my James Gunn moment right there. But so anyways, there was all these reports that Wonder Woman 3 was getting canceled and it's the end of the Snyderverse and all this stuff. So James Gunn tweets, "So as for the story yesterday in the Hollywood Reporter, some of it's true, some of it's half true, some of it's not true, and some of it we haven't decided whether it's not true. Although this first month at DC has been fruitful, building the next 10 years of a story takes time, and we're still just beginning. Peter and I chose to helm DC Studios knowing we were coming into a fractious environment, both in stories being told and in the audience itself, and there would be an unavoidable transitional period as we moved into telling a cohesive story across TV, film, animation, and gaming," which is also something we don't talk about. We're just talking about movies, but DC is some of the best animated stuff. Better than Marvel, I would say. He goes on, "But in the end, the drawbacks of that transitional period were dwarfed by the creative possibilities and the opportunity to build upon what has worked in DC so far and to help rectify what has not. We know we're not going to make every single person happy every step of the way, but we can promise everything we do is done in the service of the story and in service of the DC characters we know you cherish and we have cherished our whole lives." And then he follows up this final tweet before all the new stuff today. "As for more answers about the future of the DCU, I will sadly have to ask you to wait. We're giving these characters the story and the time and the attention they deserve, and we sorry, I'm reading this in really small print. They deserve, and we ourselves still have a lot more questions to ask and answer." And then, there's this classic picture that he posted up here, which I don't know. I feel like this right here, this image of the Justice League, kind of fits into what I think Derpy was saying, is a little bit of that classic imagery of, well, not just Superman, but the whole Justice League. I don't think the whole Justice League needs to have this kind of look, but I do think blending themes of like the darker tone of a Batman with the lighter tones of a Superman, they need to be a little bit cohesive when you do the inevitable team up Justice League or whatever. So those were the tweets that we got from James Gunn the other day. So yeah, in regards to Wonder Woman, there's some more news with that too. So Patty Jenkins, who's done, what she do, Monster, and she was gonna do. They even put out a press release video of her like rollerblading through a airport, down an airport runway, where she talked about how she was going to be doing the Rogue Squadron Star Wars film, which would be like a Top Gun in space, which I still really want to see that movie. Apparently she's walked away from that, or that's still in development, I think, but it's not in the cards currently for Lucasfilm, which Lucasfilm is a whole nother story to talk about later. But they've been kind of course correcting too, and I don't think they are in as as rough a spot as DC. Even in this era of the Disney era of Star Wars, if you don't like the new trilogy, there's still Rogue One. Some people really like the Solo movie too. I think it's a good movie, just not a good like Han Solo movie. If this was a completely different character, a new character we didn't know, maybe it's what's his name, Kyle Katarn. You know, a different character, but you know, if this wasn't a Han Solo Star Wars movie, this would have been a really fun science fiction movie. But of course, they had to shoehorn in. What's your name, Han? What's your last name? Well, you're alone, so I'm gonna call you Solo. Stupid. It's as stupid as the stupid. Why'd you say that name, Martha? Batman vs Superman BS. This is the same bad. It was not necessary. It was not necessary. So, anyways, Patty Jenkins, off Star Wars. A lot of people don't know this, but Patty Jenkins was originally going to direct Thor 2, The Dark World, and she walked from that movie. Natalie Portman almost left with her as well. That didn't happen. I think Marvel talked her into staying, but she's now walked away from Marvel, Star Wars, and now DC. We don't know necessarily how things have ended. With the whole DC thing, rumor is she's kind of hard to work with. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not going to sit here and say Patty Jenkins is hard to work with, but you've seen her walk away from 3 of the largest franchises now. After the disappointing Wonder Woman 1984, that movie is not good. I do not like that movie. We watched it. Was it not last year? It was the year before, I think, for Christmas. It was a HBO Max release, and I don't think anyone in my family enjoyed watching that movie. Myself included, who can handle a lot of bad stuff. So anyways, she apparently has left. Oh no. That was weird. Sorry, I saw my YouTube connection like disappear for a second, even though my connection's excellent, it says. So yeah, I with the Wonder Woman 3 getting canceled, Patty Jenkins, sorry. Sorry. With Patty Jenkins has responded saying that she didn't get fired or whatever, but she her version was of the script that she turned in was not what they wanted to do and didn't want to move forward. So it sounds like there's a little bit of a disconnect on who walked away from what, but either way, it does still sound to me like, excuse me, the Snyderverse is getting rebooted, and I apologize to you Snyderverse fans out there, but all I gotta say is huzzah. You a big fan of the Snyderverse? Anywho, I don't, with film, I don't feel beholden to things as much as like other fan bases feel they need to be beholden to properties. We've had, for those people who love the Snyderverse and whatnot, you have 10 years of movies. You have 10 years of movies in the Snyderverse that have come out. There's a lot of movies in that, you know, under this Snyderverse banner. So appreciate what you have. Stories should evolve and move forward. And it clearly is not working for people. The Snyderverse stuff is clearly not working for enough people for Warner Brothers to be making whatever money back that they need to. So I am looking forward to what they have going forward, coming up, or what this new plan is that we'll hear about after the new year. I'm excited for it. I want to know what they're looking at. So, sorry. I just realized I didn't finish a point a little bit ago when we were talking about Aquaman. But if they are recasting and moving forward, there is one person that might still continue in the DCEU. I don't think this is fact. This is rumor. But Lobo, Jason Momoa playing Lobo, is something that's been on the table here for a minute. Is instead of him coming back as Aquaman, him coming back as Lobo, which I'm for. I think he would work better as a Lobo than he has as Aquaman, even though I like what he did with Aquaman. I just don't like the Snyderverse stuff very much. We have to have two versions of Justice League to get it right. No, you need to just set up your universe beforehand so people get to know your characters, love your characters, relate to your characters, and not just like shoehorn things and make you care about Batman or Superman because their mom's name's Martha. Like, that is not enough of emotional connection for a lot of people to be like, I understand what their decisions are or why they do what they do. So I again, looking forward to what is coming next. The other thing the reason I decided to do this was last Friday. Derpy Gaming came in here and brought up the rumored Batman Beyond movie that was in the works. I have kind of changed a little bit of my tune on what I was thinking about it originally. The Batman Beyond movie, or doing Batman Beyond as a movie, is a good idea in theory. I think most people identify Batman with Bruce Wayne. Most people don't know who Terry McGinnis is. You obviously have to work to introduce that, but I do think that maybe doing the Batman Beyond movie, let's do another 10 years of DC. Let's get this whole thing up on its feet. Let's say James Gunn and Peter Safran nail it with a new Batman. Maybe it is a younger version. Who knows? Maybe it's even Robert Pattinson. I don't know if this Batman fits into like a overall universe thing. But I do really like the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. I do think, without trying to retread all of the Batman stories we've already seen on screen, let's do another 3 movies where, the first movie's a one-off villain, second movie you get a bigger villain, and then, it's all tied in with like Court of Owls or something. I think like using Court of Owls as like a big end of a trilogy would be really fun, because it still leaves you, maybe if the movies are successful, 3 more movies to do with other villains and whatnot. And yeah, I don't know where the Robert Pattinson's going to fit into this, but I do think that excuse me, establishing your Bruce Wayne a little bit more and then moving on to the older version is probably the better move narratively. However, the one thing that changes my mind is that Michael Keaton has been in the mix for a couple of DC movies already. He was supposed to be in the Batgirl movie that we're not going to see. He's, I guess, popping up in The Flash, and they had plans to they were looking into maybe doing a Batman Beyond movie, which, if you're not familiar, Batman Beyond is an animated series in the late 90s, I think. Takes place in the future. Bruce Wayne is an elderly man, and there's somebody that takes the mantle of Batman. It's this kid, Terry McGinnis. And as much as I like the concept, I do feel like that is a kind of how we've already had, six Tom Holland Spider-Mans. We've had his trilogy, we've had like the Avengers and Doctor Strange and stuff like that he's popped up in. Now we're going to move into a new phase of Spider-Man with him, because this is not official either, but the rumor is that he signed on for another 6 movies. And you build him up, you've got your full trilogy and beginning arc to Spider-Man. Now we have a new way to go about this character. I feel like that's how Batman Beyond would work best for me, is phase 2 of a successful Batman franchise, if that makes sense. Phase 2 or 3, depending, if they do a trilogy and then Batman pops up, or whoever plays Batman pops up in like 2 or 3 Justice League movies and then re-signs their contract for another couple. But I do think it would be a good time to consider doing the Batman Beyond, because how popular Michael Keaton has been as Batman. And, not to say that he won't be around in 10 years. Hopefully he will be. And, if that's the case, then let's do Batman Beyond then. It would be a disappointment to see him go to waste at this juncture of comic book movies, with all the multiversal stuff and alternate versions of characters. Spider-Verse is super popular. I think Marvel is trying to jump on more of the multiverse. I mean, we're in the middle of the multiverse saga with Marvel, but in this phase 4 we got Loki, and then Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I do think this would be a popular, not the worst of moves for DC. However, rebuilding your universe means that this would also have to be a little bit more of a back burner project, because it does come later. You have to have your older Batman, and if they're going with younger Superman, then they're probably going with younger Batman, younger Aquaman, or whoever else they decide to build up in this Justice League. That they, who knows if they even build the Justice League? Maybe it's Justice Society, or I don't know. What we really need is a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen reboot. I actually believe that. The movie was so bad it put Sean Connery into retirement. And Sean Connery turned down the role of Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings movies to do the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That was a really good call on his part. So yeah, that's mostly where all of the drama has been with Warner Brothers. Until we get to today. Thanks again, Derpy, for pointing out this breaking news that happened while I was putting my show together. So yeah, I'm gonna reread these new tweets from James Gunn. Ryan, I love the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen flick. I actually like that movie too. It's a good like Sunday movie for me, where I'm just like, what am I doing today? I'm gonna pop on a movie. I do think we are in a better time frame for computer graphics than maybe we were when that movie came out. There's some iffy things there, but I think League of Extraordinary Gentlemen would be a really fun new. You know what? I might regret saying this, but maybe it makes a better like Netflix series or whatnot. Caleb Richardson, hi, welcome. I'm so excited. DC is rebooting. The DCEU is dead. Long live the DCU. I totally agree with you. I am very happy to be moving past the Snyderverse era. I've liked some of the stuff. Most of it I've not been the biggest fan of. I'm a fan of Man of Steel. I'm a little bummed we're not getting Henry Cavill after today's news that confirms that well, here, I'm going to reread these tweets that Deadline has up from James Gunn. Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We'll be able to share some more exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year. Among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on earlier parts of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. But we just had a great meeting with Henry, and we're big fans, and we talked about a number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future. Again, disappointing. I do like Henry Cavill in the role. I think he needed a better set of stories to work with. So yeah, that's what's going on. That's what's going on. That's where we are. And I mean, these tweets that I just read, pretty breaking news. This happened right before I went on air, or this article was posted like 15 minutes before I went on air. So yeah, what do you guys want to see? Do you have any fan castings for any of your favorite heroes? The camera keeps. There we go. Whatever. Do you guys have any fan castings for Superman or any of your favorite characters that you hope to see? If we are still talking about some of the same actors, I would like to see if Lobo is part of this. I do think Jason Momoa is a good fit, and I don't think him being cast in that role would confuse audiences, because I think we're smarter than that, and I really wish the studios would take more heed to the fact that I think Ryan, that is the best. I want Robert De Niro to play Wolverine. I have a counter to that. You know who I want to see as Wolverine? Danny DeVito. Okay, Caleb. Okay, hot take. DC Studios should cancel the Batman 2 and the Penguin series and start 100% fresh for the DCU. This is tricky because it's like, what do you keep and what do you get rid of? I do want to see the Batman 2. And I am interested in the Penguin series. I do feel like if you put stuff out on HBO Max or, on streaming like the Penguin series is supposed to, I do feel like that gives me as a viewer a little bit of a line. Like, okay, well, it's like when the MCU started and they were doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, it's connected, but it's not. And then they pretty much after like season 3 or 4 were like, it's not really the same thing. And this is someone coming from someone who loved the Batman. Yeah, I also did love the Batman movie. I think it's one of the better movies. The best detective Batman I've seen in a while. Holy cash cow Batman. Holy rest. This is I'm somebody who, when I was younger, I really liked Batman Forever, the Val Kilmer Batman. There's a line in that movie where him and Chris O'Donnell is Robin. They're breaking into like the Riddler's lair or whatever. It's an island or whatever. And Robin's like, holy rusted metal, Batman. And Batman's like, what? And he's like, the metal. It's holy and rusted. I don't know. I always love that line. Holy dying medium. Which one? Comics or movies? Or I mean, there's still a conversation to be had about what movie theater going situation looks like in 10 years. Hey, look, I'm thinking about doing a live stream tomorrow. I don't know if I can. I have some things I need to take care of. But my plan was to go see Avatar: The Way of Water tomorrow. I think I was able to get a 3 o'clock showing. I might have to juggle some things around. I might or might not be doing a live stream tomorrow, depending on what I can, I gotta meet somebody selling a guitar, and I gotta meet up with somebody, and I'm not sure if that's happening tomorrow or not. If that's not happening, I'm going to see Avatar, and I will probably do a live stream on my non-spoiler review for Avatar: The Way of Water. This was a fun episode. It was annoying because DC is annoying. I'm having a little bit of what am I trying to say here? I'm a little just exhausted from DC stuff, and we've been getting a lot of it lately in condensed format because we've got the new heads of DC over here. But honestly, I've been kind of tired of DC news, this kind of news, for a while, because DC has been very reactionary. A movie doesn't do well, they are instantly trying to make it a Marvel movie for their next one, and I don't know. Anyways, sorry, going back to Caleb about canceling the Batman and stuff. I'll tell you what I'd love to see canceled, even though on paper I probably might like it. I am really done with the Joker, and I am not a fan of that first Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. I actually don't like that movie at all. And on paper, it sounded. I was really pumped for it. I saw it and I just really didn't like it. And the idea for the second one, bringing Lady Gaga in and having musical elements to it, makes sense for the story, I guess. Based on, what we saw from the first movie. I would not bat an eye if they're like, oh, that's not happening, even though they just started filming 2 days ago or something. Yeah, I would not bat an eye if they got rid of the Joker movie. But yeah, so leave me comments in the comment section on this video if you're watching this later. Let me know what you think about fan casting, what direction you'd like to see DC go in. I don't really have any theories or what I'd like to see. I just want to see good movies. And I'm not even the biggest comic book historian either, that I've read every storyline or whatever. Kingdom Come was something that was thrown out recently that I was like, okay, I'll check that out as a potential direction for DC. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments of, again, fan castings or what you'd like to see DC do going forward. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks everybody for watching. There's 8 viewers live. So that's great. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you showing up. And I know I usually go Wednesday, Friday is my my schedule at 6 p.m. Just keep an eye out. I'll try to, if you are subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell. I've actually never said that before. But it's a thing that people do. Keep an eye out. If I'm able to go live, it might be a little bit later, because I think the movie, if I can get into it, starts at 3. It's like a 3-hour movie, so I probably wouldn't start till 7. And it'd probably be a short episode too, just like a spoiler thing, non-spoilery review. Maybe not a full episode, but then I will be back on Friday, and on Friday Pat will be on. We are continuing our top favorites of 2022. Last Friday, we did our top 10 TV shows of 2022. Friday, we will be doing our top 5 albums of 2022. And we are doing 5 because we have 10 TV shows, and next week we'll be doing our top 10 movies of the year. We're doing top 5. Just neither one of us had a lot of time, really. Well, now I'm just making excuses. I've listened to a lot of music. Pat hadn't really listened to a lot of new stuff, and so he was catching up on records this week. And then he was like, "Oh, I got 10," and I was like, "Let's just do 5. Let's just do 5." So we'll keep it a little bit more concise, but we'll talk about our favorite records on Friday. We'll chit chat, and we will do some other fun stuff. So yeah, again, if you're new, Caleb, welcome again. I'm not sure if you're a subscriber, but feel free to subscribe. Just a little info on me. I'm Jon, aka Wild Dinosaur, and I do these live streams, but this isn't the only stuff that I do. I am an artist. I'm finishing up a certificate program in film direction. So I do music and make videos. Little last little thing that I forgot to mention. I've been talking about this sketch that I've been I need to film. I shot it once. There were some technical issues. I have to reshoot it again. I just lost the location for the sketch that I was filming. So if you're in Ventura County and you have an office building that I can use, let me know. Or just like an office, it doesn't even need to be the whole building. I just need like a cubicle or an office. An office would be nice. So yeah, anyways, I'm going to get going. I'm babbling and just kind of talking about things. So I'm going to go do stuff, and then I'll talk about it later. And what do we got? The end of the show. It's the end of the show. Don't forget to check out wilddinosaur.com. It's the best place to support this channel. I really would love to make this more of a full-time thing, more of a... Oh, the cat's trying to get out. Too bad, cat. You're stuck. Wait till I'm done. I got to do my outro. So yeah, if you need some holiday gifts or whatever, I got prints, t-shirts, sweatshirts, tote bags, socks, stickers, all that good stuff at thewilddinosaur.com. It's a really good place to help me support this channel and do more fun stuff. The other thing I like to do is, I think this is a really good place to do this, even if you guys are like, why do you do this? There is a link in the description to donate to Planned Parenthood, because Planned Parenthood is awesome and they do a lot of great things. And if you listen to the news, you probably think that they are just known for one thing, and that's not what they do. They do a lot of healthcare for men and women, reproductive health care, family planning, all kinds of good stuff. You need some condoms. They usually have bowls of free condoms in the lobby. They're good for balloon animals. So, yeah, consider donating to Planned Parenthood, because they are an important medical facility in the United States. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get out of here, and I will see you guys not next week. It's not Friday. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. I'm gonna say most likely tomorrow. Check in at around 7. Check in at around 7. And if I'm not here, I apologize for lying to you, and I'll be back on Friday. Same bat time, same bat channel on Friday. So I will see you guys later. Peace out.